Thin air, silence. A shadow glides across the snow. A lone snow leopard moves, its muscles tense. Its tail flicks once. Below, a blue sheep grazes unconscious. A sudden rush of gravel. The cat leaps more than 9 meters into empty air. The stone cracks under its weight. The sheep jumps to one side. For an instant, predator and prey hang together over the void. Then the mountain swallows the sound. Here every day begins like this. This is the kingdom of the snow leopard. Few have seen it. Even fewer understand how life survives where air is thin and winter lasts half the year. Stay with us as we follow the hunters and the hunted in this realm. This is the story of the snow leopard. Here in the Himalayas, the mountains rise in sharp, silent lines. Jagged ridges, carved by ice, cut the sky. The wind sweeps across them, bringing a sting of icy dust. Nothing moves. Well, that is until you look closer. A single footprint leaves a dent in the dust. Broad, perfect. This is the marking of a snow leopard, Panthera uncia. The hunter waits, patient as a stone. As the first light of spring spreads over the snow leopard's realm, the ice loosens on the ridges. The snow softens, sliding down the dark granite walls in slow cascades. Here, on a hidden ledge, moves a matriarchal blue sheep, Pseudois nayaur. Its fur is the color of mountain, ash, and stone. Around her, the sheep follow in single file. Their hooves are precise on the almost impenetrable path. Below, there's a precipice, above a wall of sky. This is the nursery. It's no ordinary place. The blue sheep have chosen it for its isolation and height. Small figures stumble along their way. The newborn lambs, still wet from birth, wobble on legs barely stronger than reeds. Their first steps are uncertain. Each slip sends a trail of pebbles tumbling into the void. But the mothers keep going. They know the ledge will keep them safe. Young rams patrol the perimeter. They are thin and have short horns. From the shadows, a snow leopard lies reclining against the granite. Every muscle is hidden beneath its dense, rose-like fur. It is the same color as the rock and lichen. Its tail, as long as its body and as thick as a rope, curls to maintain its balance on the ledge. She has seen the lambs. Her eyes are open, pale and unblinking. The breeze rises and shifts, carrying the scent of warm milk and damp wool. Below, the matriarchal blue sheep stops. Her ears flap. A stone tumbles down the slope. Perhaps it's melting ice. She moves on. The lambs stumble after her. The leopard moves swiftly. Its broad paws spread across the layer of snow, muffling the sound. The fur on its belly drags with the frost, leaving only a faint trail. Its nostrils flare, searching the thin air for any hint of alarm. She stops a step away from the edge of the cliff. From here, the world fades into nothingness, but the leopard is made for heights. Its spine bends like a spring. Its long hind legs, packed with taut muscles, crouch. The wind swirls, carrying its scent down the slope. A young ram snorts and turns away. The matriarch shakes her head, sensing danger, but it's too late. The leopard leaps. It flails its tail for balance, sailing through the void. The space is vast. The landing is like a stone dagger, yet its paws find their mark. The herd erupts into chaos. Hooves thunder, stones skitter in the void. The lambs bleat in panic, struggling to find the narrow path. The matriarch turns to defend herself, kicking with her sharp hooves. The leopard ignores her. Its eyes fall on a single lamb, smaller, slower, a beat behind the rest. It lunges forward at a sluggish run. The lamb stumbles. The leopard attacks. The claws hook deeply, gripping wool and skin. The jaws close at the base of the skull, a deadly bite. The lamb's cry ends before it begins. Dust and snow pile up in the sudden stillness. The herd leaps upward, disappearing among the jagged spires. The matriarch pauses once, then leads her flock upward. The leopard drags the small body under an overhang. It feeds quickly, tearing skin and tendons with its powerful jaws. Its nasal cavity is wide, its lungs vast, made to breathe the rarefied air of these peaks. Its dense, deep fur protects from the cold of the mountains. Further down the slopes, from hidden hollows, Himalayan snowcocks, Tetraogalus himalayensis, sing. Pairs move through the thawing grass, heads lowered and eyes alert. Grey, reddish and ash-coloured, their plumage is the perfect camouflage. A male raises his head and displays his feathers. His mate responds with a short, sharp cry. They feed quickly, pecking at the shoots that sprout through the melting snow, but even there danger lurks. A golden eagle circles overhead, foxes prowl the ravines, martens slink through the undergrowth. Back on the cliff, the blue sheep perch once again. Mothers guide lambs to shallow ledges where the sun reaches first. The rock slowly warms, tiny hooves test each grip. A lamb wobbles, steadies itself, and then hops clumsily after its mother. Strength comes hour after hour. Young rams wander around the top edge, his eyes scan the horizon. Every day, the lambs grow more confident, their small hops turning into confident climbs. Soon, they'll be racing up these cliffs with the ease of their elders. Spring is short here. The snows will return, the winds will pick up. But for now, the meltwater seeps into hidden streams. The lichen glows on the dark stone. A few hardy flowers sprout among the gravel. Somewhere on these slopes, some lamb will get lost. A mother will return too late. The leopard will attack again. The nursery is thriving for now. As the day ends, the snowcocks call again. The golden eagle moves towards a distant perch. The blue sheep settles against the cold stone. Night will come quickly. And somewhere in the darkness, the snow leopard will begin to move. Soon, night turns into day. Down a shadowy slope, a male snow leopard begins his descent. 10, perhaps 12 years have been etched into his body. His fur is marked with the faint marks of past fights. Winter has left him thin from hunger, but his muscles are still strong. He leaves the high refuge where he spent the coldest months. Hunger drives him down toward the lamb and the ewe. Below, the nursery of blue sheep clings to a cliff warmed by the spring sun. Life swirls there. The newborns wobble on their fragile legs, but their mothers are vigilant. The old male stops and flares his nostrils. The wind carries his scent, a faint aroma of wool and milk. He crouches, his long tail swaying with each slow step. The shadows of the rocks surround his silhouette. To the sheep above, he is just another granite sheepfold. For hours he waits, he moves when they move, inching from rock to ridge, eyes fixed on the lambs, ears attentive to the slightest movement of a stone. Far behind, another hunter follows him. A thin, russet-red fox trudges slowly across the scree. It keeps its distance. Where the leopard hunts, there will be crumbs. The matriarch of the blue sheep still feels nothing. Her flock grazes near the edge, while the lambs test their unsteady legs. The young rams watch the sky for the golden eagle. They don't look down. The leopard sneaks up. The muscles contract and the paws silently press the gravel. His breathing is shallow and measured. A gust suddenly rises, whipping across the ridge. It lashes the slope, carrying her scent upward. Instantly, the matriarch's head is thrown into the wind. Her nostrils flare. She freezes. A high-pitched bleat pierces the air. The pack reacts immediately. The mothers herd the lambs toward the cliff face. The young rams stay tied to higher ground. The stone clatters beneath their hooves. The old male freezes. He waits, but the opportunity is gone. The herd is now a fortress. The lambs have disappeared behind a wall of horns and muscle. The leopard slowly backs away and retreats along the narrow path. Failure is a constant reality. Not all hunts are successful, but there will be another day. Behind the old male leopard, the red fox follows. It glides from rock to rock, its amber eyes fixed on the feline. Today there is no prey, no feast. The fox runs its tongue over its muzzle, savoring the blue sheep's fading scent. He'll have to hunt for himself, mice perhaps, or the eggs of a careless snowcock. The old male climbs higher, back toward the broken ridges. He pauses once, surveying the valley below. The breeding herd moves again, relaxed but cautious, the lambs clinging to their mothers. A golden eagle circles overhead. He turns around, the muscles tense beneath his fur as he leaps across a narrow gap, his tail swishing for balance. The fox trots after him. It keeps its distance. A single swipe of those claws would end his hunger forever. As the sun rises, the snow softens beneath his feet. Melting water slides down the rocks, bringing with it the first warmth of the day. The leopard seeks a shady ledge, a vantage point. From there, it can observe the slopes, the trails, and the constant movement of prey. It will wait until nightfall if necessary. The lambs will stray again. A rock will fall. The wind will shift in its favor. The fox settles on a lower shelf, curling its tail around its nose. This can also wait. Hours pass. The peaks glow golden, then fade to indigo. The mountain cools again. The blue sheep begin to move toward their night shelter. The old buck rises. He heads off into the coming night, the dim light reflecting the pale rosettes of his coat. Hunger still burns. Below, the fox slides from its perch and continues. But the wind betrays him once again. The leopard stops. The risk is not worth it. A mistimed jump could send him skidding into the void. Below, the blue sheep have taken the higher path. To close the gap, he would need a long, exposed climb. No shelter, no second chance. The wind also blows down the slope, carrying their scent to the herd. The blue sheep are restless. They scatter over cliffs where even he can't follow. A chase in the dark would consume more energy than meat could compensate. He's powerful, but he's no daredevil sprinter. A slip, a broken leg, and the long winter nights would finish him off before hunger could. Then he lowers his head and wags his tail once in silent frustration. Miles away, as the peaks glow in the faint light of dawn the next day, a mother snow leopard waits on a narrow ledge. Her fur blends into the cliff, grey on grey. Two cubs cuddle up against her flank. They are 5 months old, still tender, with the roundness of youth. The mother gets up, silent, liquid. She crosses a gap and stops, arching her tail for balance. The cubs follow her. Their legs are too fast. Their tails swish like incessant smoke. Today they are learning. Below, a meadow of rocks and fine grass stretches between broken boulders. The pikes are thrown between the stones, tiny bodies, sharp ears, quick as sparks, perfect practice. The mother crouches, her muscles tense. She moves forward slowly. The pups imitate her. One pup creeps forward anxious. Its paws barely touch the ground. Its eyes fall on a squig nibbling at a fresh shoot. It composes itself and jumps. The piker freezes too late. The pup lands on target, a small squeak and nothing more. The mother watches, a lesson well learned. The second pup hesitates. It crawls toward another piker, tail wagging. Its muscles twitch with excitement. Too soon it pounces. The stones scatter. Pikers raise. The puppy falls forward, bewildered. The cub lowers its ears, crouches again, and watches the stones for movement. The wind blows across the hillside. A faint, deep, distant murmur follows it. The mother stiffens. Her ears turn toward the sound. The murmur intensifies. The puppies crush themselves against the rock. The mountain moves. A slab falls above them, rolling with a roar of gravel and dust. Rocks tumble down the slope, shattering. The mother leaps, pushing the cubs off with a shove of her shoulders. They crawl along the ledge, digging their claws into the stone. Pebbles sting their flanks as the rock slide thunders past. Dust clouds the air. The mountain roars, and then, as suddenly as it began, it falls silent. They crouch under an overhang. Dust settles on their coats like ash. The pups blink through the mist. The mother listens intently for the next stone to move. Nothing. Below, the woolly hares, Lepus oiostulus, flee in terror from their feeding areas. His long ears move, catching echoes of falling rocks. They leaped through the sparse grass, their white coats shining against the darker earth. The cubs watch them. One moves forward slowly, sniffing the dust where the hares were. Its scent lingers. The mother approaches. She scans the slope and then pushes her cubs forward. They climb higher, away from the fresh rock scar. The puppies climb the ledges. The mother waits at every turn, assessing her skill. This, too, is a lesson. Mountains move without warning. Only agility and instinct keep them alive. In a safe place, she stops. Below, the slide has carved a pale crack in the scree. The meadow is quiet again. Pikers squeal from hidden burrows. The hares have merged with the shadow. The pup that missed its previous kill crouches again, its eyes on a piker venturing from a crevice. It moves with renewed care, controlling every muscle. It waits, shallow breathing, tail still, a heartbeat, then another. The pup jumps. The stones fly, but this time the puppy succeeds. The piker emits a muffled squeal. The mother observes, approves. The afternoon dresses the peaks in pink and indigo. The mother leads her cubs to a sheltered corner beneath a sloping granite slab. Here, the wind has died down. They will spend the night there in silence. The cubs snuggle against her warmth. One still has his prize, a small meal from the previous hunt. The other sleeps with his nose pressed against his side, already dreaming. The mountain settles. Below, the woolly hares emerge again, cautious, ears pricked. The peakers twitter from their hidden stone cities. High above, the mother keeps watch, her eyes half closed, but her senses alert to every sound. Tomorrow, we will bring more lessons. When the morning light spills over the cliff the next day, life revives again. Beneath a pile of rocks, the peakers begin their daily work. Small bodies, round ears, agile legs. They run from shade to sun, carrying shoots of grass and strands of moss. Each load disappears into tunnels dug deep in the scree. Inside, the chambers open up like small rooms. Here they dry the harvest. This is a store for the long winter ahead. The spears move at a relentless speed. One runs toward a shoot, severing the stems with soft, snapping sounds. Another squeezes through a gap between the stones, tightly gripping a green twig. Their voices resonate in high-pitched screeches. These are signals for the colony, warnings for the world. A shadow falls on the slope. The peakers freeze. Only their noses move, tasting the air. Meanwhile, on a sunny platform, a group of marmots emerges. Broad bodies, thick brown and gold fur. They crawl toward the light and spread out on the warm rock. Morning is for sunbathing, for warming their bones after a cold night. A marmot stands upright. Black eyes scan the slopes. He listens. Its sharp whistle cuts through the air. This is the call of a sentry. The others raise their heads. Stillness spreads throughout the colony. Even peakers stop mid-stride. A flash of movement near the grass line. A steppe polecat, Mustela eversmani, slips from behind a rock, its fur streaked with dark and pale stripes. It clings to the ground, its snout moving, its eyes bright with hunger. The sentry whistles again, louder. The marmots dart to the safety of their burrows. The pikes disappear among the stones. The polecat stops. The ears turn, sniffs the empty air. The dam is gone. It prowls a little further, zigzagging among the rocks. After a moment, it hides in the shadows and disappears. Little by little, life returns. A solitary peaker chirps, uncertain. Another follows. Heads poke out of crevices and tunnels. Marmots emerge again, cautious. His whiskers move with every sound. The sun warms the rocks again. Above the commotion, a larger figure moves. Dark, heavy, deliberate. A Himalayan black bear, Ursus thibetanus laniger, clumsily crosses a distant slope. Its fur shines a faint blue in the bright light. Winter hunger has left it thin. The bear digs into the softening ground. Its claws tear at the ground and roots. Stones scatter across the slope. He stops, raises his snout, and tastes the breeze. The scent of tender shoots propels him forward. With each movement of his front paws, the earth flies up in a dark cloud of dew. From their perch, the marmots watch silently. The bear is not a threat from this distance, but instinct keeps them alert. High above the commotion, the old male snow leopard waits. He's held this ledge since nightfall. Frost fringes the granite around him. From here he can see the marmots, the restless peakers, the dark hump of the bear scratching the slope. None of these are his prey. He's watching something else. Beyond a wind-eroded rock saddle, a small group of blue sheep grazes. 3 ewes, a half-grown lamb and a yearling ram. They nibble at thin shoots among the rocks, their heads lowered, oblivious. The old male's gaze fixes on the ram, larger than the lamb, slower than the adults. He twitches his tail once. He moves. Every step is silent. His wide legs spread his weight on the hardened snow. The wind favors him, carrying the scent of the sheep away and into his flared nostrils. He hides behind a rocky spur, his body crouched. The sheep raise their heads. Ears rotate and nostrils taste the air. The leopard freezes, a grey ghost against the grey stone. Only the long tuft of its tail quivers as it balances on the narrow platform. After a long sigh, the sheep lower their heads again. The yearling stays a step away. The old male comes closer, 20 meters, 15. Its hind legs are grouped together like stretched springs. The heartbeats are stretched. Gusts of wind make the stones vibrate down the slope. The sheep gets scared, but it's too late. He explodes from the rock. The yearling colt runs away, his hooves clambering over the ice. But the leopard is faster. His front legs hit the sheep's hindquarters. Both animals fall to the ground. The impact is brutal. The claws hook deeply. The leopard's jaws close on the throat, forming a perfect vice of bones and tendons. The colt kicks once, twice, then stands still. The silence continues. The sheep freeze, then bound away, their hooves striking sparks from the stone. The old male holds on for a moment longer, then turns away. Hunger finally finds an answer. He drags the carcass toward a shadowy ledge. The prey must be hidden from wolves and carrion birds. Little by little, he drags it behind a barrier of rocks where the cold will mask the scent. Above, a crow circles. Below, marmots emerge from their burrows, sensing that the mountain has changed direction again. The black bear raises its head and perceives the faint scent of blood on the breeze, but the distance is too great. In the dark shelter of the rock, the snow leopard feeds. Below, among the stones, the peakers return to their endless harvest. Every stalk they bear is a future meal. Each tunnel is a protection against the cruel months ahead. The marmots settle back onto their sunny perches. They stretch out against the rock, soaking up the warmth while they can. One rolls on its back, paws raised, eyes half closed. But even at rest, its ears twitch with every sound. A gentle breeze stirs the scree. In the distance, a hawk rides a thermal current. Its call is thin and distant. The day is getting hotter. The lichen shines on the rock. Tiny flowers sprout through the moist soil. We are on the verge of summer in the high Himalayas. As spring lengthens and warmer weather arrives, snow leopards wait among the rocks. Their coats, perfect for winter's glow, now blend into the greys and tans of the thawed stone. Cubs born in the cold months have grown into lanky adolescents. The prey moves to higher altitudes and feeds in meadows that are just beginning to turn green. The big cats follow them, climbing toward the highest ledges where the air thins and the sky closes in. For those who know how to look, the signs are there. A softened track in the melting snow, a brush against a warming rock, a faint scent of musk carried by the rising wind. This will be a season of abundance, a season of challenges. Against all odds, snow leopards must endure. Days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months. As spring progresses into June, the first real warmth reaches the upper valleys. The freshly fallen snow softens and meltwater seeps into gullies and crevices. Streams roar with renewed energy, swollen by ice that has held firm for months. Meadows glow with color. Purple gentians, yellow cinquefoils, and tiny star saxifrages rush into bloom. Peakers and marmots feed almost non-stop. The blue sheep and mountain goats descend a little, grazing on the tender shoots that sprout from the thaw. By July, the snowfields shrink to the highest, shadiest hollows. The sun shines brightly. Meltwater still trickles, but the June torrents are now steady, clear, and swift streams. Insects buzz in the flower meadows. The days are getting long and warm. The peakers are the first to feel the change. They only venture out in the cool of dawn and dusk. Their agile bodies move among the stones. A soft hiss warns of danger. They carry stalks of grass to hidden chambers. With their mouths full, they disappear into narrow crevices. Inside, they seal the entrances with stones and earth. The midday sun beats down. The rocks radiate heat. A lone peaker stands motionless, ears flattened, waiting for shade. Its world has shrunk to a few safe steps. Nearby, marmots spread out on the sun-warmed rocks. Their thick fur absorbs the heat. With their eyes half closed, they chew non-stop, tearing off the last green shoots. Competition is getting tougher. Two males grunt at each other above a clover. Their teeth gleam. A cloud of dust rises. A piercing whistle cuts through the thin air, followed by silence. A marmot stands tall, scanning the sky. The birds of prey circle, invisible but felt. The others freeze, their muscles tense. Minutes drag on before power is restored. Every bite counts. The fat accumulated now means life in the frigid months ahead. They gorge themselves until their bellies swell, then retreat to deep burrows. Darkness engulfs them. High above, a lone markhor climbs. Its spiraling horns catch the light like polished wood. The passage is narrow and crumbling. Loose slate tumbles noisily down the slope. He pauses, nostrils flaring, sensing the scent of invisible rivals and distant females. Step by step, he crosses the ridge. A gust of wind lifts her hair. Below, the valleys lie shrouded in mist and the streams glimmer like distant metal. He moves on. Higher still, a snow leopard waits in the shadow of a black boulder. The wind shifts, carrying with it the pungent scent of the markhor. The cat lowers its head, its gaze fixed, its muscles tense. Then the markhor turns and the leopard slowly retreats. Know the weight of those spiral horns. A blow could break a rib. A single charge could send them both flying into the void. Even a perfect jump would involve a struggle on the crest of a razor's edge. One slip could mean death. The leopard melts into stone. Energy must be saved for a safer dam. Meanwhile, butterflies float among the last flowers. Their wings look fragile against the bare stone. A sudden wind scatters them down the slope. Alpine choughs flutter in the sky. Black wings dip and twist in playful arcs. Their cries echo against the cliffs, bright and sharp. As night falls, the air cools. The pikes emerge once again, their smooth bodies blending with the rocks. They rush to cut and transport more grass. Marmots also come to the surface, sniffing the breeze. A sentry sits upright and turns his head in slow arcs. The others feed in quick bursts, always near shelter. Night falls rapidly. The cold slides down from the peaks. And so, again, silence. Dawn comes soon. A young snow leopard moves alone. Her fur blends with the stone and shadow. She prowls a barren ridge, her muscles tense beneath her mottled fur. Hunger drives her upward. The scent of goats floats in the thin air. The rocks slide beneath their paws, sending a soft thud down the slope. Below, a small herd of ibex grazes. The young leap along the narrow ledges, their hooves striking sparks from the stone. The leopard crouches, its tail still. Its eyes are fixed on the smallest, a cub moving away from its mother. She moves forward slowly. A piece of slate gives way under his hind leg. The stone slides down the slope, making a dry sound against the cliff. Instantly, the mother mountain goat raises her head. A high-pitched whistle cuts through the air. The pack explodes. Hooves clatter against rock and dust rises in a pale cloud. The children disappear behind their mothers, agile as smoke. The young female jumps, but the hole is empty. She remains crouched, her chest heaving. Dust covers his whiskers. The persecution has cost him energy that he cannot use. Hunger eats away more deeply. The day fades into twilight. The mountain cools and hardens. He rests in a fold of rock, his eyes half closed, listening to the night. At dawn, he climbs again. The snowfields gleam in a pale sun. A Himalayan tahr, Hemitragus gemlahicus, young grazes on a steep hillside. Its reddish fur contrasts brilliantly with the grey. The young tahr advances along the awakening slope. The dawn light spills over the ridge, illuminating the rough velvet of its new horns. It walks between clumps of coarse grass and dwarf juniper, tearing the leaves with quick bites, often pausing to raise its head. The rest of the herd grazes higher up, scattered on pale stone terraces. A dominant male stands apart, his thick mane of hair blowing in the cold breeze as he searches for rival scents. The kids tumble and bump into each other. Loose rock shifts beneath their hooves, but they maintain their balance effortlessly. Below, a silvery stream runs through the gorge. The yearling moves further down, attracted to a patch of tender shoots where meltwater seeps from the cliff. The leopard approaches along a ledge. Its body flattens and the tip of its tail moves. The muscles curl up. She jumps. The tahr takes off. Stone spatters fly as it bounces at impossible angles. The leopard lands with a thud, its claws scraping the rock. It lunges again, but the youngster dodges. Within seconds, it's gone, a brown flash disappearing among the shadowed cliffs. She stands, panting, and runs her tongue over her dry lips. Another failed hunt. The morning sun rises higher, harder and whiter. The heat is reflected in the stone. The hours pass slowly. She moves from crest to crest, always searching. Their paws leave faint footprints in the dust. Every now and then, he stops to lick a thin stream of meltwater and then moves on. At dusk, his strength diminishes. It perches on a narrow outcrop, its ribs visible beneath its thick fur. The silence oppresses us. The night wind rises, carrying the scent of dry grass and insignificant life. Prick up your ears. Listen. A soft whisper under a rock. A pike darts out of its hole. Its tiny paws scurry over the loose gravel. The leopard crouches, then it attacks. His paw lands with precision. The pika squeals once and remains still. She squeezes him between her jaws. It's just a bite, but it's food. She licks her whiskers clean and lies back, her eyes half closed. The dawn is cold and abrupt. The crest glows pink in the first light. He stretches, his muscles stiff but ready. The pica has given him only fleeting strength. Hunger persists. Still he rises. He must hunt again. The ibex scatter like smoke over the cliffs. The tahr vanish into the shadows. She pauses and scans the valley. Nothing moves. Once again without success. When the sun rises again, he will try once more. Meanwhile, the afternoon wind sweeps the dry grass. From the farthest ridge, 4 wolves, Canis lupus chunco, appear. Their grey coats billow like smoke against the fading light. They move as one, thin from days of travel, their ribs show beneath their rough fur. Hunger drives them. Further ahead, a small herd of mountain goats grazes near a stream. The children delicately peck at the tufts of grass, their mothers watchful but calm. The wolves slow down. They lower their tails. Their gaze focuses on the weakest, a mountain goat kid moving away from the group. The lead wolf crouches. It flattens its ears. The others cast wide, silent shadows in the grass. The pack stiffens. A single stone resonates. In an instant, the hunt begins. The child runs away. Hooves pound on the loose scree. The pack moves. 4 grey silhouettes race across the valley. Their footsteps are a soft thunderclap. Dust rises behind them in a pale, frantic cloud. The lead wolf approaches quickly, cutting angles on the slope. Another turn swerves and pushes the boy into a narrow ravine. The boy jumps, groping for a foothold. Stones fly from their hooves. The wolves are pressing. The minutes drag on like hours. The young ibex swerves, trying to reach the safety of its mother. The wolves shift positions again, tightening their formation. Each charge saps the kid's strength. It breathes raggedly and its legs tremble. Above, a crow caws, high-pitched and metallic. Another joins in, his black wings flashing in the twilight. They know what's coming. They spin around, waiting for the end. He settles lower, his long tail curled around his legs, his gaze fixed on a pale figure grazing above. The kid nibbles at the brittle tufts of grass, his ears twitching with every whisper of the wind. His mother stays nearby, but heads for a patch of lichen. The young man is half hidden behind a broken rock column, but not well enough. Little by little, the leopard stands up. It hugs the curve of the hillside, merging with the shadows as the sun sets behind a peak. The hours drag on. The ibex grazes, wanders, lies down, and rises again. Twice the wind changes, and twice the leopard freezes. It doesn't blink. At the end of the day, the boy moves towards a narrow ledge. His mother is now a distant figure. The child lowers his head and moves his ears. The leopard curls up. His tail is raised slightly. Then she comes out of hiding. A flash of grey and cream skitters down the slope. Stones clatter like distant drums. The ibex takes off, its hooves thundering down the cliff face. The chase is brutal and swift. The leopard leaps in long arcs. The boy veers left, tries to climb, but the cat is faster. She throws herself from a higher ledge. Impact. A dull rumble of fur and muscle. Dust explodes from the rock. The ibex kicks once, twice. The leopard's jaws close on its neck. The fight ends in silence. The mother drags her prey into a shadowy hollow. She breathes raggedly, her chest heaving from the violent rush. Below, her cubs, now 8 months old, rush out of their hidden den. They squawk excitedly. She waits, wagging her tail patiently, until they reach her side before lunging to kill him. A warm scent of blood rises in the cold afternoon. The cubs gorge themselves quickly, their muzzles stained black. Their tiny teeth tear at the tender flesh, learning to sense real prey. The mother eats last, watching the ridge above and the valley below. The shadows lengthen. A red fox appears, twitching its nose at the scent. Wait at a safe distance. Behind him, 2 crows fall from the sky, their black wings slicing through the setting sun. The leopard raises its head. A low growl echoes among the rocks. Snow leopards cannot roar, but this growl is enough. The scavengers stop, interpreting the warning. Night falls. The cubs, their bellies round, curl up against their mother's flank. She licks their fur clean, never taking her eyes off the darkness. The fox hides again in the shadows. The crows climb onto a high perch. The hours pass. Finally, she stands up. The puppies follow them. She leads them away from the slaughter, along a hidden path where the moonlight barely reaches. Behind them, the fox moves first, slithering to tear at what remains. The crows descend behind them. The leopard does not look back. Dawn will bring new aromas, new dangers, new dam. Miles away, frost clings to the high ridges. Here, the old male snow leopard pauses on a rock slab, his tail curled and his muzzle twitching. A strong scent marks the edge of his realm. He rubs his cheek against the stone, leaving the musky trail of his passage. Across a narrow ravine, a young woman watches. Her fur blends with the lichen and shadow, a soft, grey ghost. She recognizes his scent. It draws her in, though it pushes her away. She glides along a lower ledge, her feet make no sound. She stops where the old buck's mark darkens the rock. Somewhere behind the ridge, the old buck returns. He senses movement, but doesn't rush. Instead, he follows the scent currents. The female's trail is fresh, her pupils narrow. Their paths spiral in a slow, cautious dance. He circles higher, she descends lower. Both are aware of each other's presence. Beyond their hidden rendezvous point, a rival male, younger and heavier, floats on the periphery. The old male stops, pricking his ears to catch a sound too faint for human ears. The breeze carries the signal of his rival, muscles tense beneath his thick fur. He advances toward a high rocky spur. His territory is not surrendered so easily. The young female feels it too. She retreats to a stone cleft. Above them, the moon rises higher. Life stirs in the scree below. A small shadow glides between the rocks, its eyes shining like stars. A Pallas's cat, thick-furred and close to the ground, hunts in the frozen grass. Its rounded ears twirl, catching the faint scurry of a rodent under the layer of snow. Below, the matriarchal blue sheep guides her flock from the windswept heights. The once frail lambs now hop confidently over the ledges. Their fur has thickened, ready for the coming cold. She guides them to lower slopes to feed on the snow-covered grass. They move in a long line. The sheep push the young forward. Every now and then the matriarch pauses. With head held high, he looks for the slightest trace of a predator. Far below, where the valley widens and the air softens, a herd of yaks grazes the last clumps of autumn grass. Their dark silhouettes are outlined against a carpet of rust and gold. Bells tied to thick necks jingle softly as they move. They are cattle in these places. Blue sheep reach the mid-slopes at midday. Here the grass is brittle but abundant. The lambs run playfully, oblivious to the gazes following them from the distant rocks. The matriarch keeps them close, diverting the group with a nod whenever the shadows lengthen in the wrong direction. The autumn light intensifies, tinting the cliffs copper and gold. The winds rise, bringing the scent of change. In the distance, the herd of yaks moves slowly towards their winter pastures. The sound of its bells fades with distance. From a high ridge, the old male snow leopard watches. The big cat leans back against the rock. He's seen the rut before. He knows the chaos of clashing horns will leave the two distracted, injured and sluggish. The leopard's eyes follow the line of the blue sheep. Take note of the smallest gaps. The momentary pauses when a lamb is left behind. The hunt will come when the shadows lengthen and the mountain grows cold. For now, the cat remains a ghost, absolutely still. The cries of ibexes fill the valley as evening falls. The duels slow. The fighters are exhausted. The losers slink away into deeper ravines. The victors remain alone on their ledges. Meanwhile, the blue sheep settle down on a sheltered slope. The mothers bring their lambs closer. Frost spreads along the edges of the meadow. His breath rises in faint columns. Above them, the snow leopard finally moves. It doesn't rush. Below, a lone lamb moves a few paces away from the herd. The cat flicks its tail once. A sudden crack of horns from a distant ibex masks the soft brush of the predator as it approaches. The leopard stops, waits, and then advances. But the matriarch feels something. She stamps once. The flock is tightening. The lamb runs back to the safety of many bodies. The cat freezes. The opportunity is gone. Night falls with a silvery chill. The routine will continue for days. The blue sheep will graze even further down. And the snow leopard will watch, waiting for a single careless step. Meanwhile, the mother snow leopard waits under a ledge, motionless as stone. For 2 days, she has followed an ibex calf. The wind sweeps across the ridges, carrying scents in sudden shifting gusts. She inhales them, nostrils flaring. One wrong breeze will betray her. He settles lower, his long tail curled around his legs, his gaze fixed on a pale figure grazing above. The kid nibbles at the brittle tufts of grass, his ears twitching with every whisper of the wind. His mother stays nearby but heads for a patch of lichen. The young man is half hidden behind a broken rock column, but not well enough. Little by little, the leopard stands up. It hugs the curve of the hillside, merging with the shadows as the sun sets behind a peak. The hours drag on. The ibex grazes, wanders, lies down, and rises again. Twice the wind changes, and twice the leopard freezes. It doesn't blink. At the end of the day, the boy moves towards a narrow ledge. His mother is now a distant figure. The child lowers his head and moves his ears. The leopard curls up. His tail is raised slightly. Then she comes out of hiding. A flash of grey and cream skitters down the slope. Stones clatter like distant drums. The ibex takes off, its hooves thundering down the cliff face. The chase is brutal and swift. The leopard leaps in long arcs. The boy veers left, tries to climb, but the cat is faster. She throws herself from a higher ledge. Impact. A dull rumble of fur and muscle. Dust explodes from the rock. The ibex kicks once, twice. The leopard's jaws close on its neck. The fight ends in silence. The mother drags her prey into a shadowy hollow. She breathes raggedly, her chest heaving from the violent rush. Below, her cubs, now 8 months old, rush out of their hidden den. They squawk excitedly. She waits, wagging her tail patiently until they reach her side before lunging to kill him. A warm scent of blood rises in the cold afternoon. The cubs gorge themselves quickly, their muzzles stained black. Their tiny teeth tear at the tender flesh, learning to sense real prey. The mother eats last, watching the ridge above and the valley below. The shadows lengthen. A red fox appears, twitching its nose at the scent. Wait at a safe distance. Behind him, 2 crows fall from the sky, their black wings slicing through the setting sun. The leopard raises its head. A low growl echoes among the rocks. Snow leopards cannot roar, but this growl is enough. The scavengers stop, interpreting the warning. Night falls. The cubs, their bellies round, curl up against their mother's flank. She licks their fur clean, never taking her eyes off the darkness. The fox hides again in the shadows. The crows climb onto a high perch. The hours pass. Finally, she stands up. The puppies follow them. She leads them away from the slaughter, along a hidden path where the moonlight barely reaches. Behind them, the fox moves first, slithering to tear at what remains. The crows descend behind them. The leopard does not look back. Dawn will bring new aromas, new dangers, new dam. Miles away, frost clings to the high ridges. Here, the old male snow leopard pauses on a rock slab, his tail curled and his muzzle twitching. A strong scent marks the edge of his realm. He rubs his cheek against the stone, leaving the musky trail of his passage. Across a narrow ravine, a young woman watches. Her fur blends with the lichen and shadow, a soft grey ghost. She recognizes his scent. It draws her in, though it pushes her away. She glides along a lower ledge. Her feet make no sound. She stops where the old buck's mark darkens the rock. Somewhere behind the ridge, the old buck returns. He senses movement, but doesn't rush. Instead, he follows the scent currents. The female's trail is fresh. Her pupils narrow. Their paths spiral in a slow, cautious dance. He circles higher. She descends lower. Both are aware of each other's presence. Beyond their hidden rendezvous point, a rival male, younger and heavier, floats on the periphery. The old male stops, pricking his ears to catch a sound too faint for human ears. The breeze carries the signal of his rival, muscles tense beneath his thick fur. He advances toward a high, rocky spur. His territory is not surrendered so easily. The young female feels it too. She retreats to a stone cleft. Above them, the moon rises higher. Life stirs in the scree below. A small shadow glides between the rocks, its eyes shining like stars. A Pallas's cat, thick-furred and close to the ground, hunts in the frozen grass. Its rounded ears twirl, catching the faint scurry of a rodent under the layer of snow. A sudden jump, a muffled squeal, and the night takes on another life. High on the ridge, the old buck presses his cheek against a jagged ledge. He renews his mark. His rival circles closer. His tracks snake through gullies and icy streams. He doesn't hurry. This is a game of endurance, not speed. The young female descends to a lower platform, twitching her ears at each echo of falling rocks. She is not ready to choose between them. The old male moves again. It leaves a final spray on an icy white rock and then fades into darkness. The rival stops at the edge of the scent. He lowers his head, inhales, and remains motionless. The message is clear. For now, he turns aside, melting into a canyon of black ice. Dawn approaches, pale and cold. The old man rests in an isolated hollow, his eyes half closed. He is held firm for now. As autumn fades, frost glistens on the high meadows. Marmots scamper along the rocky slopes, dragging clumps of dry grass into their burrows. Each stalk forms part of a fortress they'll need when winter comes. One pauses at the entrance, wagging its tail and twitching its snout at the scent of the icy wind before disappearing underground. Inside, the tunnels are lined with thick grass mats. The side chambers are sealed with compacted earth. Above, the pikas move swiftly among the rocks, carrying green moss and stalks to hidden caches. They plug narrow tunnels to conserve heat, moving with urgency. Their calls rise, signaling danger and warning their rivals. Every step counts. Storms can blanket the valley overnight. Delay can mean death. Below, woolly hares glide through the scree, their ears twitching as they hear the faint whistles of distant marmots. Their white fur blends into the first patches of snow, leaving only a dark eye to betray their passage. The wind blows from the peaks, stirring the scree. In hidden hollows, families of marmots work together. The young pull at the stems while the adults seal the entrances with soil. The pikas do the same, quickly stuffing bundles of moss into secure chambers, aware that the coming nights will be harsh and unforgiving. As the clouds gather, the light fades and turns silver. The woolly hares move cautiously over the scree, sniffing the bushes and listening for the distant cry of a crow. Night falls early. The marmots huddle in groups, sharing warmth beneath the frost-covered burrow entrance. The pikas huddle beside their nests. The snow advances along the ridges, erasing tracks, covering the slopes in white. Yet beneath the frozen crust, life persists. For snow leopards, mating is still months away, but the stage is set. Winter will come, hunger will sharpen the claws. Rivalries will flare up, but the snow leopards are ready. The days pass, and now the mountain is trapped in ice. Winter is here. The wind tears at the ridges, tearing away the loose snow. The air burns the lungs. Then comes the sound. Deep. Lamination. Endless. An avalanche. It begins as a crevasse, a single fracture in the icy slope. Within seconds, the hillside breaks loose, roaring like thunder. It cascades down the valley, devouring rocks and pines. The ground trembles. Snow clouds rise, blotting out the sun. High above the chaos, a group of mountain goats clings to a sheer wall of ice-dark rock. Their chisel-sharp hooves cling to the icy ledges. Frost fringes their beards. Their breath steams in the still air. They crumble stubborn patches of lichen. A slip here means death. The older male steps aside. His horns curl back. He lowers his head to scrape off a hidden piece of moss. Ice fragments scatter in the wind. Below, a younger rival watches, waiting for a mistake. But none occurs. On a windswept ridge, Himalayan snowcocks forage beneath a fine layer of dust. Their mottled feathers blend in with the scree. They scratch the mounds. Their claws reveal the seeds left over from autumn's brief bounty. Every bit of food is precious. A sudden gust stirs up a swirl of flakes and the flock freezes. Only when the wind dies do they resume their silent search. A second avalanche is heard from a neighboring slope. The ground trembles underfoot. Snowcocks jump into the sky, then the white silence falls again, broken only by the hiss of settling snow. In the distance, on the ridge, a solitary female ibex approaches a frozen stream. She presses her snout to the ice, searching for a trace of moisture. Frost crystals cling to her snout as she moves forward, her flanks emaciated from weeks of hunger. Two calves follow behind her. The sky darkens as another storm approaches. The wind drives ice needles down the slope. Ibexes huddle in the shelter of a cliff, their bodies close together, their horns intertwined to protect themselves from the gale. Snowcocks slump to the ground, feathers puffed out, eyes half closed but ever alert. Night falls without warning. The temperature plummets. The mountain holds its breath. Far below, the muffled thunder of another avalanche resonates through the valleys. The morning brings a brittle light. The ibex moves again. Across the high ridges, a lone snowcock squawks from a narrow chasm, and its mate meets it on a hidden ledge. They greet each other briefly before returning to their endless search for food. High above, a golden eagle glides, finding no easy prey. Avalanches rumble in distant valleys. As night falls, the snowcocks hide in their holes. The ibex remain vigilant under the rising moon. Below, a river lies frozen. Avalanches resonate faintly. The night is black and breathless. The snow falls with a fine, dry hiss, masking all smells. The old male snow leopard moves like smoke among the rocks. His pale fur blends with the moonlit mounds. With 10 winters under his belt, he knows all the tricks the mountain demands. Up ahead, the herd of blue sheep sleeps in a shallow bowl of rock and wind. The lambs are almost grown, but they are still slower than their mothers. The old male crouches, his tail curled for balance. His gaze fixes on a subadult a little apart from the rest. The snow reaches his waist. He sinks silently. He waits while the wind changes direction, carrying the scent of the herd down the slope. He comes closer. A single crunch of moving ice. The nearest sheep moves, heads are raised and nostrils are flared. For a moment no one moves, then it attacks. It launches itself down the slope with a silent, explosive leap. Snow erupts behind it. The subadult flees, but too late. Its claws dig into the flesh, its teeth find the neck. The weight of the leap pushes them both down into the snow. The herd disperses. The old male clenches his jaws, holding them tight as the young blue sheep thrashes. Warm blood spreads over the cold, white crust. In seconds, the fight is over. The old male feeds rapidly, tearing at the flank, his dark snout against the snow. Then a sound carries the wind, low, growing, unequivocal, the howl of a wolf. Another joins him closer. The old male freezes, his ears flat. Shadows emerge from the tree line. 4 wolves, lean and grey, fan out, digging their paws into the snow. The old male growls, his tail whips, the lead wolf advances, teeth bared. The pack scatters, the leopard crouches, fur bristling. The first blow comes quickly. The wolf bites his flank. The old male turns, flashing his claws. A scream splits the night. Another wolf quickly appears from the side. He cuts again. The carcass lies between predator and scavenger, a prize no one will easily surrender. The wolves feint and circle. The leopard turns, attacking, retreating, attacking again, but the sheer number of animals presses hard. The pack closes the circle, snapping their jaws. The old male's flanks heave. Their ears are flattened to the skull. A wolf pounces on the carcass and is repelled by a blow that cuts the fur. Another jumps and his teeth graze his shoulder. The wind picks up, throwing ice against their faces. The old man takes a step back, lifting his chest with deep, controlled breaths. He hisses once, a final, sharp warning. The wolves stand firm. There is nothing I can do alone. He turns and runs into the darkness. The wolves leap forward and grab the carcass with their snapping jaws. Above them, ravens descend in ragged black waves. A red fox slithers between the rocks. It waits on the edge of the feeding frenzy, cunning and patient. When the wolves pause to tear at the richest meat, the fox pounces, stealing a morsel before disappearing into the shadows. The old male climbs higher towards the ridge. Hunger still burns in his belly, but even he knows the risks. 4 wolves are relentless. Their strength and coordination far exceed the cunning of a lone predator. A fight here would cost energy, safety, and possibly life itself. Snow leopards are built for stealth, power, and precision, not protracted battles for crumbs. The night belongs to the scavengers. Tomorrow the peaks could offer another opportunity. Tonight he retreats into the shadows. Meanwhile, the mother snow leopard guides her 2 cubs. They're almost adults, but still attached to her every move. The ridge is a ridge of black stone. Ice covers every outcrop. The wind whips up the mountainside. The mother pauses, testing the air. Below, the shadows of blue sheep graze on a distant hillside. She twitches her tail once and then guides it up, seeking a safer spot. The puppies scamper after her. The brittle ice cracks beneath careless steps. Pebbles slide into the void. The youngest cub gets too close to the edge. His claws scrape a thin slate ledge. A loud creak breaks the silence. The cornice gives way. The puppy howls, but the sound is instantly swallowed by the wind. Snow and stones cascade into the darkness. There is no chance of survival. The surviving cub crouches and trembles. These kinds of deaths are common here. Ibexes often make mistakes when stepping on these fragile cliffs. Even the sure-footed blue sheep falls when the rock collapses without warning. The mother finally moves. She pushes herself away from the void and climbs higher. The surviving cub follows, pressing himself against her, almost touching her body. They reach a narrow platform, sheltered from the gale. The mother lies down, her tail curled around her flanks. The puppy cuddles up against his side, eyes open and unblinking. She licks the frost off her fur. His purr is deep and constant. At dawn, the horizon bleeds a pale gold. The mother stands, her muscles numb from the cold. The cub remains standing with her. Together, they advance along the ridge. The cub follows each step precisely, its snout pressed against the mother's tail. Its eyes never leave the path. At noon, they reach a group of windswept rocks. A lone blue sheep stands on a distant slope, scraping lichen from the stone, too far for a hunt. She watches for a long moment and then moves on. The puppy stays close. In a narrow ravine, they catch a faint scent of hair. The mother crouches, her ears pricked forward. The cub mimics her posture perfectly. A woolly hare darts out of the bushes, but the snow is deep and powdery. The mother lunges forward in a silent attack, claws dug in. She drags the prey to a protected corner. The puppy eats first. After finishing eating, the mother climbs onto a nearby ledge and looks down into the valley. The cub sits beside her, its muzzle stained black. Night returns with icy swiftness. The cub clings to her, seeking her warmth. Beneath them, the place where they fell lies silent. When morning comes again, they will rise higher, hunting the thin trails of prey across the frozen slopes. Meanwhile, a young solitary snow leopard struggles with hunger. It's been days since she's hunted. Each step sinks into the hardened snow. She stops, nostrils flaring. The marmot's scent floats in the cold air. Her ears perk forward, catching the faint whisper of movement. The dam is near. It lowers its body, its belly brushing the frost. Its legs slide forward in slow, precise arcs. Not a sound escapes it. A small figure moves near a half-buried rock. The marmot digs for the last dry stalks of grass. It doesn't notice the predator above. The young female tenses, wagging her tail. She throws herself. The groundhog squeals once. Their jaws close quickly, silencing the sound. The hunt is over in seconds. Here ends the long period of famine. She drags the corpse to a shady corner. She eats quickly, cutting through fur and sinew with her teeth. Once fed, it climbs higher, leaving its feeding place behind. But hunger will return. Prey will become scarce again. Tonight, she has resisted. But for now, winter continues. The worst is yet to come. And with it, the toughest challenges for survival, even for the mighty snow leopards. The end of winter has a hard, white grip on the mountains. The sun is pale and sharp. Each breath steams in the brittle air. A single set of footprints runs through the snow. The young snow leopard follows the trail, head lowered, tail tracing slow arcs. The scent is old but strong, a musk that lingers even in the icy wind. It guides her through jagged cliffs and shadowy ravines. Up there, the old man waits. His fur is frayed by years of battles and cold seasons. His muscles still tense beneath the thick undercoat. He stops, nostrils flaring. Her scent reaches him. He sighs in a low murmur that carries across the deserted hillside. The young female stops, ears pricked. She responds with a soft grunt and then climbs higher. The distance between them shortens with each silent step. Their gazes meet across a narrow crack. Neither moves. Snowflakes swirl in the dim light. Little by little, they begin the ritual. He approaches slowly, skirting the ledge, never taking his eyes off her. They approach, silent, parallel paths on precarious stone. A pause. Heads tilt and tails curl. Small snorts, soft vocalizations come from their throats. The female walks softly. He reflects her, going around, gently touching with the snout and paw. The couple then come closer and their bodies briefly touch. The link has been confirmed. Prey moves far below, but up here, for snow leopards, mating season has begun. For 2 days, they stay close. They snort and purr, rubbing their faces against the same rock. When he stops to drink from a half-frozen stream, she drinks beside him. The nights are long and quiet. Their breath mingles in small clouds as they rest side by side on a narrow ledge. On the third night, another's scent drifts on the wind. The old man stiffens. His ears flatten. The young female crouches. On the other side of the slope, a rival male appears. The old male growls. Then he strides forward toward the intruder. The young woman steps aside, her eyes open and unblinking. They collide. The claws rake the fur. Teeth crunch with the sound of breaking ice. The young challenger launches himself, but the older man pivots with sudden force. He gives a powerful shoulder thrust, forcing his opponent down. They fall together. At the bottom of the slope, the intruder breaks free and hurries away. The young female watches from the rocks. When the rival's scent fades, she approaches the old male again. He lowers his head, and for a moment they remain together. Days pass. The pair travels along the high ridges, leaving overlapping trails. Their brief union seals the promise of another generation. After mating, snow leopard pairs do not form permanent bonds. Their union is temporary. The gestation period of a female snow leopard lasts approximately 90 to 100 days. This means that puppies are born in spring around March to June. The mother will seek a safe den, often in a rocky crevice or cave, to give birth and shelter her litter. The male takes no part in raising the pups. The litter usually consists of 2 or 3 young. The mother will remain with her pups in the den for several weeks, feed them, protecting them. Puppies open their eyes when they are 7 to 10 days old, start exploring after 6 to 8 weeks, and they begin to follow their mother on short hunts at 3 months old. But even when a new life begins, change occurs elsewhere. At the edge of the mother's range, the surviving cub falls behind. Almost adult, its spots have darkened and its muscles have hardened. It waits on a ridge at dawn. The mother calls once. The cub twitches an ear but doesn't respond. Take a step forward. A lone Himalayan tahr watches from a ledge. Further ahead, faint tracks of a wandering lynx cross the path. The young leopard does not follow anyone, moving towards the unknown. Now he will live as a solitary hunter, no longer tied to his mother. She, for her part, will also move forward. Buddy, raise another litter, survive another year. Once the worst is over, winter loosens its grip. The early spring sun softens the high steps. The ice cracks and the streams run dark under the snow. The old male travels more distance each day, but now his gait is uneven. A limp slows him down on the steep climbs. He stops often, waving his flanks and scanning the empty ridges. Hunger gnaws at his ribs. One dawn, he doesn't return to the trail. Its scent fades in the wind. As for the young female, her belly is brimming with life. She moves cautiously, seeking a hidden basin where the rocky walls protect her from the wind. In a hollow beneath an overhanging cliff, she probes the terrain and circles around twice. This will be their lair. She spends long hours in silent vigil. Crows fly high above, their dark wings silhouetted against the pale sky. Blue sheep graze on distant slopes, their lambs agile on the melting snow. Ibexes make their way along narrow ridges, their horns reflecting the rising sun. A lone bearded vulture flies overhead, a black cross against the clouds. Every dawn, her breath diffuses in the warm air. The world around her stirs with the first pulse of spring. Marmots poke their snouts from their burrows. Pikas squawk from the stony fields. The season of plenty will return. The young female lowers her head and closes her eyes. Inside it, the next generation of ghost cats awaits. Snow leopards are more than hunters. By maintaining the balance of herbivore populations, they protect fragile alpine meadows from overgrazing. Their presence influences life on cliffs and valleys. Streams run clearer, plants thrive, and even scavengers depend on the remains of their hunts. Soon the cycle will begin again. When spring returns, the snow will melt from the cliffs and the first shoots of grass will sprout from the thawed ground. Blue lambs will wobble on their fragile legs, marmots will emerge to bask in the warm sunshine, and ghostly cats will once again stalk the ridges. Mothers will teach their young the art of survival. The mountains are preparing for another season of hunger and growth. Life goes on as usual.